Well, hello everybody and welcome. Thanks for watching. Today's topic is a final word and a head change on Dave Roberts, the LA Dodgers manager. Now, the other day, one of the sports writers for the LA Times, or no, I think it was an Orange County newspaper. Either way, he kicked off his story about Dave Roberts with the line, somewhere over the past 9 years, you either said fire Dave Roberts or you at least thought it. Well, let me tell you, I've been commenting on the Dodgers ever since Roberts has been the manager. And yes, I've said a couple of times in my columns and in my YouTube videos, they should probably fire him. So I'm guilty of that. But what I'm here to say is I've actually reconsidered my stance. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't always feel they should fire him. Not always. Not that hard line. But, admittedly, I said it a couple times over the years. I had that feeling because being a fan, I want the team to win the big championship. And in my opinion, Roberts has been sadly lacking in the number of championships that he's brought to the Dodgers versus the number of opportunities that he had. This was my gripe from the very first day that Roberts set foot in the manager's office. LA Dodgers was going to be his first managerial job. And I didn't want it. You can check the receipts. It's there in the videos that I made at the time. I didn't want a rookie manager learning his craft with my team, because it was like putting Dave Roberts in the managerial seat was like taking somebody who just got their driver's license and giving them a Ferrari and saying, now go win the big race. It could happen, could catch lightning in a bottle, but probably not. And it's going to take a few races to understand the tricks, the tribulations, and all the wherewithal you have to do to carry the long haul all the way to the big trophy. And Robert showed us right away what his shortcomings were, because he was thrust into the spotlight. You know, the Dodgers front office, to their credit, they built a Ferrari and handed him the car keys and said, here, go win everything with this. But he didn't have the experience. He didn't have the smarts, and maybe a little bit of it inside of him. He didn't have the cutthroat mentality that a manager has to have to win it all also. Now, so I thought that a couple of opportunities were wasted. In 2017, well, you know how close that series was? Even though the Astro cheating bastards were declared the winners by cheating, the series was still this close. It was still anybody's series. Games were won or lost on this much of a margin. And that series was won by that much of a margin. And they only won because they cheated. Roberts made clear, giant mistakes in that 2017 World Series that he should have won. But he lost because it was his first time. 2018 rolls around and the Dodgers return to the World Series. I'm telling you, the front office gave him a Ferrari. They gave him teams that how do you not win the division? And how do you not get to the World Series? And so he made it as well as he should have. And again, his mistakes and shortcomings came up. The 2018 World Series against the Red Sox wasn't that close, but we'll never really know because, in my opinion, his early managerial skills were such that we lost that series partly based on the fact that Dodgers never used all their weapons. Never, we never saw everything that the Dodgers had to offer. And because of that Dave Roberts gift, the Red Sox won. So as far as I was concerned, I'll admit it, I had a bitter taste after those two World Series and no championship. Dave Roberts takes us again to the World Series in 2020, and we win. And all the naysayers, whatever. Listen, I'm the kind of guy that no matter what team would have won that World Series, if it wasn't the Dodgers, let's say, for example, it was the Giants. Even if it was the Giants, I wouldn't have run to my YouTube channel and said, well, it wasn't a real series and they didn't play in front of a crowd, blah, blah, blah. Every team had an equal playing field pretty much. Everybody had to deal with what they had to deal with in 2020. And so all things being even, as far as I'm concerned, the best team won, and it's a legit championship. But I'm not here to debate that. What I am here to say is, though, that the guy finally put it all together and was able to win that championship. This past season and a half, the second half of last season, the playoffs and so on, and even though the Dodgers lost very quickly, I saw some learning. One thing I've seen is in his ability to handle a pitching staff. That used to be a weakness for him, in my opinion, but listen, this season, are you kidding me? With only 2 working pitchers at any given time and a bullpen that, let's face it, in the middle of the season, at times felt like, geez, it was just a basket of broken tiles. Dave Roberts managed to show what he learned about how to manage a pitching staff and how to manage a bullpen, and the guy pulled it out. And so kudos and congratulations and, bravo to that. He showed that he was learning. Now, me, being the guy I am, I still had that little bit of, but you know what? Dave Roberts is learning to be a pitching manager, but he doesn't know how to handle a batting lineup. And I was griping about that as late as the NLDS against the Padres, when we had Miggy Rojas and Freddie Freeman in the lineup trying to be heroes and really hurting the team. Because the team, I made a video about it back during the NLCS, the team's got 25 guys on there that can get the job done. Play them. If you remember, game 2, I think it was, game 2, we were, the game was in reach. We were down by 1. We had come back and it was the bottom of the 9th. And what did Dave Roberts do? He left postseason, the time that we needed postseason magic the most, he left postseason magic, Kike Hernandez, sitting on the bench. And who did he send up to bat? The group of 3 guys that went 0 for 9 all night, that couldn't see the ball for anything all night. And with the game on the line, he sent them to the plate in the 9th inning. And of course, we lost. Would Kike have caught postseason magic in his bat? We'll never know, because he never gave him the chance. And that is a managerial decision. And that is one of the reasons why I was saying Dave Roberts still has very high limitations, because the guy doesn't know what to do with a batting order. Well, once Miggy Rowe and Freddie Freeman were out of the lineup, what happened? And Kike got in, what happened? Dodgers massacred the Padres, and they went from looking like they might lose again to looking like, wow, a pretty darn good team with all the cylinders firing and an offense that scores the amount of runs that we expect them to score, that they look like on paper that they should be able to score. And so they get out of that and they escape it. We come to the NLCS. What happens? Miggy Rowe is still out and injured, but there was still the question of Freddie Freeman. And he kept Freddie Freeman again in the lineup. And I was complaining about, look at this, and keeping Freddie Freeman batting third. And I even tweeted one night about he's a jinx. Freddie Freeman is a jinx because if you notice, whenever he doesn't play, the Dodgers stomp the opponents. But when he does play, nothing happens. He kills all the rallies. And that very night, Freddie Freeman went 0 for 5 and personally killed at least 3 rallies that night, when he had no business batting. Certainly, he had no business batting in that spot in the batting order. And so, as far as I was concerned, I still had a legitimate gripe against Dave Roberts. And then what happened? And then, finally, Freddie Freeman's out of the lineup, and what happens? Dodgers turn it on, Dodgers cook, and Dodgers win. And the Dodgers beat the Mets. Now, what helped bring about this sea change in my thinking that Dave Roberts is Roy the man? And Dave Roberts is Roy learning on both sides of the coin, pitching, batting, and Dave Roberts just might win this World Series for us, is that Max Muncy, in his post NLCS borracho speech, he filled us all in on the time that when Tyler Glasnow went down and said that the team looked like, holy cow, like how many more hits can we take? This is it. We've had the last blow that we could possibly take. Now we lost Glasnow, another pitcher. Dave Roberts gathered the team around and had a team meeting and got them to look at themselves and realize they have everything they need to win right there. Glasnow, no Glasnow. They've got everything they need. And according to Muncy, you turn that team around. And then later, I read somewhere that Roberts and Freddie Freeman had what they called a spirited discussion about Freeman playing. And then he was out of the lineup. And I got to believe that in that spirited discussion, I got to believe that Freddie Freeman was not saying, take me out, coach, I can't play. And Dave Roberts was insisting on him playing. No, it was the other way around. And so, looking at it through Roberts' manager eyes, you know what? He talks to the players. He looks eye to eye with these players, heart to heart with these players. He knows them. And he trusts them. Being a manager, part of being a manager is you got to trust your player. Have you got it? Can you do it? When you go out at the mound, can you get this guy? Can you finish this inning? When you've got a partly injured veteran that wants to play, have you got it? Can you pull it off? Well, he stopped listening to, yeah, coach, put me out there. I need to be in there. I'm the hero and the team needs me and blah, blah. Look, the team needs Freddie Freeman for the World Series. They didn't need Freddie Freeman in the NLDS, and they didn't need him absolutely in the NLCS. Put him on the roster. Put Freeman on the roster, but he doesn't have to start. He can come off the bench when needed, and if his bat is so clicking, he can certainly come off the bench and hit. So Freeman must have been arguing, play me, coach. You got to play me, even after another night of disappointment at the plate. And Dave Roberts apparently won that spirited argument, and Freddie Freeman sat out, and the rest is history. The Dodgers went on to win the NLCS and beat the Mets with everybody else on that squad that they brought. I'm a big believer, like Tommy Lasorda used to say, you got 25 men on one end of the rope, and if they're all pulling, they can win. And that's why, I believe that that's what Roberts got into the heads of his team about. If we all pull together, we can win this. And he had to convince, that was the manager's job, and that was on him. He had to convince Mr. Big Contract, Mr. MVP, Mr. I'm the hero. He had to convince him, you're not playing. And I'm glad he did that because we won that NLCS. Listen, I wasn't advocating for Tommy Edman to bat cleanup. Dave Roberts put him in there. Baseball genius Dave Roberts batted Edman in cleanup, and he ended up being the MVP of the series. So, here we go. World Series bound, and I am officially neutral on Roberts in terms of no more criticism about the guy until he earns it, unless he earns it. But otherwise, Hall of Fame Dave Roberts, you're not going to hear me making any YouTubes or tweets about why he shouldn't be or why he's not the best or doesn't deserve it. No, the man deserves it. Even if we lose, if we get beat fair and square, Dave Roberts is the manager that I want running the Dodgers. And so I'm looking forward to him handing in that lineup sheet for game 1. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go Dodgers. Peace.